audio. Mic check. Here we go. Check 1 2 1 2 1 3 1 2, and we are live. Okay, go. Okay. All we've had is a banana to eat. Woo! Okay. Wow, we've got another big episode for you guys today. So basically, you got a whole month of two-parters. Huge. The best episode, some might say.
The best of the best.
Okay, no more Trump impersonations.
Okay, no more.
Yeah, so only announcement I have is just a reminder we're doing our trivia night June 22nd at Saint City in Branson.
Yes, so if you're local, please come and support your girls and have fun at trivia night. I mean, it's going to be like dark trivia, so a little thing spooky. I mean, all things spooky, really, but it's going to be
There's
really
going to be
fun.
blood everywhere.
Yeah, a bloody margarita.
We're going to perform an exorcism
in real life.
in real life.
My dreams.
I'm going to be performing it on Alexa, actually.
No, I'm performing it on Cadence. My dreams are coming to reality. So
sick. You're sick and twisted.
No, listen. Okay. I have had dreams where I have performed an exorcism.
Yeah, I forgot about that. It's terrifying.
It really is. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
But, hey.
Dreams, man, I could rant, so
yeah,
I'm
we're not going to start
there.
But another thing, too, we are going to the podcast movement in Dallas August 22nd, all the 22nds.
We've got to look at that symbolism.
I know. What is going on with the twos? But we are going to the podcast movement on August 22nd. Bubby. No.
And we're in twos.
Yeah. Two, and two. So, if you want to help send
it's
us
22
there,
the year.
if you want to help send us there, support us, you know how to do it. Link in the bio to help sponsor us. Or if you know of anyone that's looking to sponsor a true crime podcast, you know what to do.
Maybe like a county prison, you know.
Yeah, whatever.
All that stuff. So,
even a prisoner. I mean, I hear they have Venmo these days.
Oh, shit. So, prisoners, if you're listening, send us money.
Yep. All right. Something spiked. I made us jalapeno margaritas with jalapenos from my garden.
So good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be sweating.
It really is good. That jalapeno is spicy. I was quite surprised that it was like that hot.
It's delish.
So delish. So, if you are 21 and up, drink along.
Drinking word.
I
have one in mind if you don't.
Okay. What's yours?
Like shoot, shot, shooted.
Shooter.
Shooting.
Shoot. Yeah. Okay. That would be good because that was his method. So,
yep.
Yeah, or gun. Which one?
Either one. Shoot's probably more.
Shoot.
Yeah.
Okay. Shoot, shot, shooted. Please don't say that. If you hear that word, then drink along with us. And if you're not 21 and up, or if you are and you're drinking illegally, we won't tell. But if you don't drink,
we don't advise it.
Yeah.
But
if you
how
don't,
are we gonna know?
Yeah, we'll never know. But if you don't drink, then just sip along on your water. I don't know.
Grab your Diet Cokes and here we go. Me. Our videos and podcasts are for entertainment purposes. All information discussed was found on the internet. Keep in mind, we talk all things sinister that may not be suitable for all audiences. Viewer and listener discretion is advised. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about David Berkowitz, aka the 44 caliber killer, aka and most famous for the Son of Sam, known not necessarily as the most notorious serial killer, but an American serial killer nonetheless with a potential satanic past, guilty of 6 murders in New York over a frightening 1-year period.
Psychopath.
So it's kind of crazy because he is definitely super famous and well known. There's so many documentaries about him, but I mean, when you get down to like his crimes compared to others, I mean, he's not I don't want to say he's not the worst because he is the worst in like a person
Yeah, he's
sense.
terrible.
It's not like he,
It's the worst serial killer.
It's because his story is interesting, is what I'm getting at. I think that's why he's so famous.
Yeah. And he wasn't like ugly. Like, not saying he was cute, but he wasn't like
who played Rocky?
Oh,
the actor.
I'm terrible with
But do you know what I'm talking about?
Okay. Yeah, I see it. 100%.
That's who he looks like.
Yeah.
It kind of, like when I first saw, well, not when I first saw it, but every time I see it, I'm like, ooh, he looks like that guy.
Yeah.
What's his name?
I'm not good with names. I can't do that.
Anyways, the guy who played Rocky.
Like, I'll watch a show like 10 different times, and I know like the name of the person in the show or the movie. But then if like you ask me, I can't do it. It leaves my brain.
And I'm sure people who are listening and watching are like screaming at their phones.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
It's so-and-so, you fucking morons. Yeah. Guys, stop cussing at us.
Oh my God, be
Jesus
nice.
Christ.
Oh.
Okay, so we're still in Gemini, and I think this is going to be our last Gemini.
It is.
So we've discussed a lot, but if it's your first time tuning in, they're two-faced.
Two-faced.
So need we say more? Yeah. I mean, honestly, that's going to play huge into the story, the two-faced
Yeah.
aspect, but witty, fast with details, however, sometimes indecisive and inconsistent.
Yeah.
Geminis, you guys have some major serial killers. It's crazy.
Yeah, they really do.
Yeah. Like, all of our stories have been huge.
Yeah, I feel like it was really big with like the last 3 signs.
Yeah.
Like Aries, Taurus, and Gemini.
Mm-hmm.
Like those 3. So Aries, I would say, were like, I don't know, Aries and Taurus were kind of like the most brutal.
Yeah,
like,
they were the violent ones.
Yeah, very, very violent. Very violent. So don't fuck with us.
Yeah, so
because
basically-
she's an Aries and I'm a Taurus and we'll fucking kill you, okay? And it'll be...
With peace and love.
Yeah, I will be the planner and the one who makes us stay out of jail. And she will be like...
The creepy, crazy one?
Yeah, like...
I feel like I'd be the person who is just like...
Yeah, she would be like the crazy, like, butcher.
Like
or
erratic.
something.
Yeah.
And then
That
I
was
would have to
creative
like, keep
of
us
that.
out of jail, basically.
I feel like 2 podcasts in a row we've plotted how we would murder people.
I know. So if we have any like police officers, we seriously won't murder anyone unless we have to. But
no, remember, entertainment purposes only. Okay.
Yeah, remember. Okay.
Idiots.
All right, let's go.
Okay. He was born June 1st, 1953 in Brooklyn, New York. So it's also different because we haven't really touched a lot of East Coast.
I mean, yeah, Albert Fish was probably the last one.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
California, we're giving you guys a break today.
just one.
Also the 70s. Well, we'll get into the 70s, but...
Yeah.
Oh, just kidding. This all takes place in the 70s.
I was going to say
I'm an
53.
idiot. Yeah, 53 to 70. Whatever. Anyways, already fucked it up. Okay. His mom came from an impoverished Jewish family. She worked as a waitress. She married David's father after her first husband left her for another woman. So already a bad start for this lady. The new man that she gets with is also married, but they're like, whatever, we'll make it work.
Yeah, why not?
So 3 years into this relationship, affair, whatever this was, she has David, and it's said that this new man in her life is like, no. Like, he's not going to have my last name, which even his original name was actually Richard David. It's not really important, but... So he was like, no, we're not having this kid. I'm embarrassed by you. In fact, if you keep the kid, then I will abandon you. And again, she's poor. She doesn't know what to do. So she puts David up for adoption just a few days after his birth. So David is adopted by the Berkowitz, and they decide to flip his name because they're like, don't need the association. Instead of Richard David, you're David, whatever.
So we've had 2 serial killers back to back that were adopted. That were put up for adoption as a baby.
Weird.
Okay.
It's a Gemini thing.
Gemini thing. Yeah.
So, Geminis, check with your parents. Make sure they're your... Now would be the time. So, he's adopted by the Berkowitz. They're another Jewish family from the Bronx, more of a working class. They were hardware store retailers, didn't have any kids of their own, so they were super happy to take him in. Later, David's life is described as trouble pretty early on. I couldn't really find anything as far as his adopted parents were concerned.
Yeah.
But he didn't show any interest in school or learning, even though above average intelligence, pretty normal, but obsessed with petty larceny and starting fires. Ooh. So we've got one of the MacDonald triad. Very worrying. And the neighbors describe him as difficult, spoiled, and a bully. So just a difficult kid all around.
Yep.
So adopted parents didn't completely ignore this. They did seek help from a psychotherapist for the behavior, but nothing really came from it. And he never had any legal consequences for setting shit on fire.
Right.
So didn't really help. At 14, his adoptive mom dies of breast cancer. She had been battling that for a while. He had to see her go through all of that. So really put a strain on the relationship. And his adopted dad does remarry. Oh, and so he's super against stepmom.
Yeah.
Just really not doing good at this point. But
yeah.
Graduates high school in 1971, so he's around the age of 17. He joins the U.S. Army. Served, right? God, why do they always join the Army?
Heck.
Or just any job
the
with
military.
A gun.
Yeah.
And he served in Fort Knox, Kentucky, and an infantry division in South Korea. So he probably saw some shit.
He probably did.
Let's be honest.
Yeah, he probably did.
But wasn't there for long. He was honorably discharged in 1974, and he decides he's going to seek out his birth mother. So fun fact about this that I don't know if this is confirmed, but some people speculated that he was told his birth mother died during childbirth. So and it could be a reason for his behavior up until now, living with that guilt.
Right.
So he thinks his birth mom is dead. Turns out she's not, so he goes to look for her. They visit a few times, and she tells him the process of how and why he was adopted. In full honesty, she's like, this guy was going to leave me, didn't want the baby, and he did not take this well. He was greatly disturbed by his mother's actions, but also he starts kind of seeing these parallels with the men in his life that abandon him. His birth father, or first off, the way his mom was treated by two men.
Right.
One of which was his dad, leaves him. Yeah. Stepdad, he feels abandoned by with the whole thing.
Yeah.
So, this is sort of where the turning point, downward spiral. He describes it as it shattered his identity. So this is where he's like, oh, hell
I'm going to be evil.
Yep. So communication with his birth mom is off and on, and then eventually completely fades out. He did have a half-sister, and he met her, but then so he cuts off all connection.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how old is he at this time?
Around 20. It's 1974.
Okay, so
he's
23.
around 20. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
that's crazy.
Yeah. Not great stuff. So, 1975, just about a year later, he enrolls in Bronx Community College, stays for a year before becoming a taxi driver. He worked some odd jobs, worked for USPS at one point.
Wow.
Before shit goes down.
Right.
So, we're going to travel back just a tad. So, mid-1970s is where David starts committing his violent crimes, all taking place in the Bronx, Brooklyn, and the Queens area. So, all relatively close. And if you are familiar with New York at all, shit can go down real quick, especially in those areas and that time.
Yeah, and it was so close.
Yeah.
Too.
Yep. And I can't imagine being in New York and getting separated from a friend and trying to find them, let alone you're trying to find a serial killer amongst all of those people.
So many people. Yeah.
No.
Can't even imagine. Especially without technology.
Yeah.
What in the world? Good luck. Okay, needle in a haystack.
Exactly. So his victims were young females, more so white women with long, wavy, dark hair. His methods involved knives and guns. One crime, or all of his crimes involved two people, except for one. There was a one-off where a girl. So he targeted like couples or people in groups.
Got it.
Okay.
So not just like women by themselves.
Right.
Okay.
Very, very like
so us.
Twos, guys. Twos. And he was 22 during his first murder.
Oh my god. What is up with all the twos?
Yeah, it's kind of freaking me out.
Look that up.
I know.
Okay.
It is really strange.
Yeah, very weird.
So, December 1975, he's 22 years old. It's Christmas Eve. Oh, I was like, what is that? It's Christmas Eve, and he uses a hunting knife to stab two women. One is an unknown, unidentified Hispanic woman, and the other is a 15-year-old student, Michelle Foreman.
Oh.
So she was stabbed 6 times, needed hospitalized care for a week to recover.
She lived.
She lived. A lot of his people live. So he starts out with stabbing because he thinks that he can get away with just stabbing them and being done. But he's a messy murderer. Messy. And he's honestly not very good at it. But
yeah.
So he was never considered a suspect and decides to move to the Yonkers, New York area. So fast forward quite a while, July 1976. He's 23 at this point, and around 1 a.m., two friends, Donna Loria and Jody Valenti, were sitting in their car outside of a nightclub in New Rochelle. Rochelle, right? Or is it Rochelle? Rochelle. Okay. Mm-hmm. I practiced and still fucked it up. Okay. So, Loria was getting out of the car when she noticed a man quickly approaching, and like in a sassy way, again, like they're outside of a nightclub. I love this part. In a sassy way, she says, "Now, what is this?"
Oh my God. I love it.
So, but unfortunately, David immediately pulls a gun out of a paper bag. He bends down on his knees to so he can shoot with both hands.
Oh my God.
Like props, if you can imagine. I can't really do it right now, but bends down on one knee so he can prop his elbows on his knee, shoot with both hands. Let me catch up here. He fires and instantly kills Loria.
Oh, shit.
So, Jody was just shot in the thigh, which still brutal. Ugh, can't imagine. Mm-hmm. But she, beep bop doop bop bop. So he shoots again. There's a third shot. Luckily, it misses both of these women, but he's able to get away. Mm. So later, they say they did not recognize, or she says she did not recognize. Hold on, I think I got my names mixed up. So Loria's, I believe, the one who died, but then I said Loria later says. So it must have been Jody who later says she did not recognize the man, but describes him as a white male, fair complexion, about 5'8", 200 pounds. His hair is short, dark, and curly in a modern style.
Yeah, she got him.
So she got him. There's going to be an issue with that later.
Yeah.
So, yes, it is Loria who died. Jody is the one who survived. So Loria's father happened to be in the area before the shooting, and he gave the same description of a man that was in a yellow compact car parked nearby hours before this happened.
Oh my God.
Neighbors also reported seeing this man or this car cruising around the area for hours before the shooting happened. So
he was like staking out who he was going to kill.
This was well planned. Which again is going to play a huge part. And he's like so messy, which I really think goes back to that little bit of Gemini that's like inconsistent, indecisive, and it's kind of like, okay, now's the time.
Impulsive.
Yeah. I mean, it's just messy. So, he gets away. So now we're fast forwarding to October. It's still a pretty good chunk of time.
Yeah.
So October, still 1976, a similar shooting occurs in Queens. Carl Denaro, a security guard who is 20 years old, and Rosemary Keenan, who is an 18-year-old student, were sitting in their car when all of a sudden windows shatter, and so they quickly drove off, luckily.
Oh my God.
Carl later says he felt like the car had exploded. Like, it was that, and I'm picturing like a scene from a movie, just like glass.
Yeah, like all the glass.
He was so shaken by it that he didn't even realize he'd been shot in the head.
Shut up!
So, to the severity that he lives. Okay, so great for this guy, but to the severity, he had to have a metal plate installed to replace part of the broken skull.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And he didn't even like know that it had happened because of the adrenaline.
He was like, just get out of there, which amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. You would think like your instinct's going to be one of two things: drive off or like duck. And his was just to get the hell out of there.
Yeah. Oh my God.
So awesome for him, but obviously neither one saw the attacker.
Right.
But because the car was just loaded full of bullets, police determined that the bullets found in the car were from a .44 caliber, and that's where he obviously gets the nickname .44 caliber killer.
Right.
But they were so fragmented that they wouldn't be successful in necessarily like linking a gun or an owner.
Right.
So all they just knew were the bullet types.
Right.
So, Carl, the guy driving the car, also happened to have long brown hair. So police think that maybe he thought he was another female.
Oh my gosh.
Because also his girlfriend did too.
Oh my
So
gosh.
it's like, okay, they're targeting something specific here.
Yeah.
Whew, not a good time to be a white female with long hair, dark hair.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, right?
So now 1 month later, we're into November. Frequency is increasing. So we've been going like 4 or 5 month periods. Now it's the next month.
Because he didn't kill anyone.
Nope.
He probably saw him drive off, so he didn't have that emotional connection or attachment to a murder. And so he's like, all right, what am I going to do next?
Yeah.
He's ready.
And he's skipping the knife business altogether. Like he'll later say that it was messy. He couldn't successfully do it. So he just was like, fuck it, gun.
Yeah. It's easier.
Yeah. So 1 month later, 2 high school students, Donna DeMasi was 16 and Joanne Lamino, 18. They walked home after a midnight movie premiere. So they made it home. They're sitting on Joanne's porch when a 20-something-year-old man, in their opinion, dressed in military attire, approaches them and starts asking for directions. So it's not, because obviously when I started reading this, I'm like, oh, kids walking home at night, that's so scary. But no, they made it home. They're just hanging out.
Yeah, at their home.
Literally mid-sentence for him in asking the questions. Mid-sentence, he pulls out his gun and... What? Oh, I know. I'm an idiot. My dog sits on the, perches on the back of couches like a cat. And probably so he can watch us,
probably.
To be honest. But as soon as he's like mid-sentence, he's like, hey, can you show me where the... So shoots them each once, and they fall to the ground. He fires several more times, hitting the building. Like, guys, again, he is messy.
Terrible.
He's on the porch with them.
He should never even have a gun.
Nope. And then he leaves. In fact, I read he walks away. So.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So neighbors hear the shots. They run outside and they see a blonde man with a gun leaving the scene. So Donna was shot through the neck, but gained full recovery. These people, I mean, y'all are fighters. God. It's just amazing. And Joanne was hit in the spine and ultimately rendered paraplegic.
Oh, God.
But they both lived.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So now the issue is...
inconsistent killers.
Yep. Bad descriptions. So... January 1977. So, again, pretty short period of time.
Yeah.
Christine Fruin, she's 26 years old. Her fiance, John Deal, is 30 years old. They were in the car about to head to a dance hall after seeing Rocky.
Shut up.
I'm not kidding. I'm not even joking.
Oh my God.
So many like weird. This is like the multiverse. I feel like we're like in this weird dimension
is going on.
Yeah. So they are sitting in the hall. 3 shots were fired into the car.
Oh my God.
John, again like Carl, quickly drives. He only is suffering from minor injuries at this point. However, Christine was severely injured and later died in the hospital.
Oh, no.
So, and again, he is such a bad shot that these people, not that, you know, you want everyone to have a chance at survival, but a lot of these people obviously end up in the hospital before dying, which just tells you, like, they've suffered. Like, they suffered. And I hate that.
Terrible.
Yeah. So, neither of them saw the shooter. Obviously, I'm sure she was not in a state to be remembering things like that, but neither saw the shooter. Police now publicly acknowledge that the crimes are beginning to link together. So at first, obviously, we have different descriptions, different areas.
Yeah.
One's a couple, one is
2 girls,
2 students.
Yeah.
This is, I mean, so
they're probably like, oh, well, we have 2 different suspects. Yeah. Or multiple. This is just random. And now they're like, whoa, wait a second.
Right. So, but now they're like, okay, what is going on? These are starting to connect. However, they've now received the 2 different testimonies. And so, just like you said, they're like, okay, we're looking for multiple people.
Yeah.
So, going on to March, so just 2 months later, or within 2 months, still 23 at the time. It is, the whole time, that's why I kept up with his age, because I'm like, how? Oh my God. So young. So young. 7:30 p.m., college student Virginia Voskerichian, sorry, I probably majorly fucked that up, is walking home when an armed man approaches her, and in self-defense, she raises her books up as a shield, but the bullets do penetrate the books, and she is instantly killed. Mm. So this was another, it wasn't random, but doesn't fit the current MO that they have.
No.
So she's by herself.
Yeah.
Not seated, not in a car. She's actively walking.
Yeah,
I mean, it's different.
Oh my God.
But this is where, okay, it's a brutal murder with no reason. And so 2 days later, the NYPD hold a press conference relating the bullets from Loria's case, which was the first actual murder victim, and now this. So luckily they're collecting these bullets and starting to piece it together. So later documents show that while they did feel this was the case, that they were connected, they actually didn't have conclusive evidence.
Oh my God. Yeah, because, I mean, it makes sense. All they had were the bullets. Yeah. But they can't tell what gun it's coming from. Right. They know the size of the caliber, but they don't know.
So it's like, trust your gut. And it's great that they got to continue investigating it because it just happened to be that he was a serial killer.
Right.
But they were like, yeah, we had inconclusive evidence of that, but thank God we were right. So
can you imagine living in that area at that time?
No.
That would be terrifying.
Well, and unfortunately, with places like New York, you have a lot of homicides anyways, but now you just have these brutal, random homicides mixed in. Yeah, for no reason. So, terrifying time.
God.
And luckily, too, news of the crime starts circulating around the media daily, and it was super popular overseas. Not that they can help, but awareness. Right. So things start blowing up. The police can't hide this anymore. People are on it. And I honestly think that for once the media might have actually been a lot of help.
Right.
Because they weren't fully connecting it. They didn't have that evidence. And so now it's like, okay, give us what you can.
Yeah. So that way we can help and we can be on the lookout. Because if it happens again, we are getting this fucker's description.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So April, what is this? 1 month later? Yeah. 24 years old. We're in 1977, 3 a.m. Alexander Iso.
The witching time.
At least it's not 2:22 or something.
Yeah, right. 2:22 a.m. Probably 3:22 a.m. Anyway.
Yeah. Alexander, he is a 20-year-old tow truck driver, and Valentina Suriani, she's an 18-year-old student, aspiring actress and model. They're sitting in a car on a service road in the Bronx, just a few blocks away from Valentina's home, and a few blocks further from the very first murder scene. So,
wow, like right in that same area.
Keeping it relative. Yep. So, Valentina is shot once in the head and instantly killed.
Oh.
Alexander is shot multiple times in the head and later dies in the hospital. How can you be shot multiple times in the head and survive and long enough to get to a hospital? It's so sad.
Literally fighting for his life.
So sad. So a neighbor heard the gunshots being fired. Obviously, Alexander was unable to describe any attacker, but again, police are linking the bullets and weapon. They're starting to say, like, okay, this is what kind of gun he's carrying, blah, 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 blah. Now, on to the son of Sam.
Where he gets his name.
Where this effing name comes from.
Oh,
honestly, when I first decided to do this case, that's all I remembered was why he was son of Sam, because it's so wild.
It's so wild. It's so crazy. Hence the multiple personality. Not the
two-faced shit.
The two-faced.
Yeah. So, beginning in May of 1977, police discover handwritten letters addressed to the NYPD. These are initially withheld from the public. Later, they agree to release bits and pieces of it to the media.
Yeah.
It's written in all caps near the crime scene of the April murders. So it's like he literally, instead of, I feel like serial killers normally like send it in or put it places, but he's like, no, they're going to be back. They're going to be back. Yep. I know they're on my trail, so I'm just going to leave this here at the crime scene.
Yep, and he did.
Fucked up. And this is where he dubs himself the son of Sam. So this is really long, but it is crazy. So I had to include it. Also, keep in mind as I'm reading this, it's really hard to read. He has horrible grammar. Words are misspelled terribly. So I'm just going to read it as is. He says, I am deeply hurt by your calling me a woman hater. I am not, but I am a monster. I am the son of Sam. I am a little brat, in quotes. When Father Sam gets drunk, he gets mean. He beats his family. Sometimes he ties me up to the back of the house. Other times he locks me in the garage. Sam loves to drink blood. Go out and kill, commands Father Sam. Behind our house, some rest. Mostly young, raped and slaughtered, their blood drained, just bones now. Papa Sam keeps me locked in the attic too. I can't get out, but I look out the attic window and watch the world go by. I feel like an outsider. I'm on a different wavelength than everybody else. Programmed to kill, TOO. So just little, like the whole thing is filled with that. However, to stop me, you must kill me. Attention all police. Shoot me first. Shoot to kill or else. Keep out of my way or you will die. Papa Sam is old now. He needs some blood to preserve his youth. He has had too many heart attacks. This was a weird part. Ugh, me hoot it erts, sonny boy. I miss my pretty princess most of all. She's resting in Our Lady's house, but I'll see her soon. I am the monster, Beelzebub, the chubby behemoth, whatever. I love to hunt, prowling the streets looking for fair game, tasty meat. The women of Queens are the prettiest of all. I must be the water they drink. I live for the hunt, my life. Blood for Papa. Mr. Borelli, sir. I don't want to kill anymore. No, sir. No, but I must honor thy father. I want to make love to the world. I love people. I don't belong on earth. Return me to yahoos, to people of Queens. I love you, and I want to wish all of you a happy Easter. May God bless you in this life and in the next. And for now, I say goodbye and good night. Police, let me haunt you with these words. I'll be back. I'll be back. To be interpreted as bang, 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 bank, bang, yours in murder, Mr. Monster.
What the fuck was going on in his mind? Was he like on LSD or something? Like there was something or meth? Like he was all over the place. First of all, that. Second of all, he wasn't a fucking cannibal. He didn't drink blood. He didn't rape these people. He didn't do these things that Papa Sam wanted him to do. And he wasn't abused as a child.
No.
Like, what the fuck?
There was, out of like all the stories and research I did, there was one person who said he got hit by a car at the age of 8. But like, I only heard that like randomly.
Wow. Yeah.
So there might have been some head trauma,
but not like, what in the world is going on in that letter? Can you imagine being a police officer and getting that letter and you're like, okay, wait a second, this is a fucking joke. Like,
I would have thought just some like crackhead stopped by.
Right. Yeah, like someone is on meth. Like, crack at this time in the 70s. Somebody is smoking too much fucking crack. I'm writing this letter.
Yeah, and again, writing the story, I was like, oh, this is so long. I'm going to use just bits and pieces. No. But like every line is different. Almost something to like read into.
Yeah.
So that's what the police did. They went line by line. So that weird line where it says, ugh, me hoot it ert, sonny boy. They first thought that sounds like somebody trying to write out a Scottish English accent.
Okay.
Obviously he wasn't. And I don't, even if you are Scottish, you write in English.
Like, you don't talk that way. He doesn't talk that way.
No. But that's what I'm saying. Like, if you're Australian, you're not going to write, like, you're not going to write your accent how it's pronounced. You're just going to write the English word. And so, I don't know why that was even... But then they were like, maybe we're dealing with a psychopath who's trying to pretend he's Scottish and he thinks we're stupid.
Right.
So, that's one of the lines they look into. And then when he they translate as my heart, it hurts, sonny boy, clearly. Because I was like, I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
They also theorized the line, too many heart attacks, might mean that the murderer blamed a dark-haired nurse for his father's death, thus targeting these dark-haired women like Gloria, who was a medical tech, and Valentina was studying to become a nurse.
Shut up. So he must have been stalking them. Like, he knew.
Yeah. So he's done some research. Unfortunately, that's not, like, those are really smart connections by the police.
Right.
But obviously his mom wasn't a nurse. His dad wasn't dead. Yeah. So it's like, unfortunately, this is all just random.
Right.
It's just a crazy person. So psychologists observe that serial killers feel gratification by leading the media on with games. Obviously, they feel powerful and in control. We've seen it.
Yeah, for sure.
Hundreds of times.
BTK.
Yes. Yeah. And the media loves it. So it's like, what's worse?
Right.
So with the guidance of said psychologists, police decided to reveal a psychological profile of the suspect. So here we go.
Okay.
Most likely neurotic.
Duh.
And a crackhead. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, and he smokes too much crack. Okay.
A paranoid schizophrenic, believing to be a victim of demon possession.
And child abuse. Okay.
So, I thought the demon possession part was interesting because, honestly, as if I found a letter like that, I would just instantly think someone is on drugs. But obviously, if you're putting together a neurological profile, you have to be a little more professional. So you say something like, oh, he probably thinks he's being possessed by demons, maybe because of drugs or because of whatever. So that's basically those 3 points. Neurotic, paranoid, schizophrenic, demon possessed.
Believes.
So... which I'm like, you're also in New York. There's got to be so many of those.
Oh my gosh, right? Like, you got
no offense, New Yorkers,
like everywhere.
There's just so many people. When you have that many people, you're gonna have a larger number of crazies.
Right, right. And there are a lot of crazies. I mean, just go to Times Square.
Yeah, I was on a subway one time and someone threatened to bomb it.
Holy shit.
And what was really scary, so this woman got in my face and people were like standing up to help me. It was so scary. Hated living in New York.
Oh
Anyways,
my God.
she was like, stupid what? Okay. So quick story. The rule in New York is you don't make eye contact. And it's not like, I used to think that was a rude thing, like New Yorkers were just rude. But it's because you can simply lock eyes with someone and they want to kill you. And
they
so
want to fight.
When I went, and if anyone sticks out, like in the Midwest, if someone sticks out their hand, you instinctively like reach for it to shake it. Or if someone walks towards you, you kind of approach them. Like you have this like connection to people.
Yeah.
And in New York, they're like, anyone walks towards you, not only do you not go towards them, you go the other way.
The other way, yeah.
If anyone starts to hand you something, you retract.
Yeah.
So I was on the subway, and
How long did you live there at that time?
Oh, how long had I been there at the time?
Yeah.
2 to 3 months.
Okay.
So I was like, I knew the game.
Yeah.
I learned that like in the first week, but you got to learn real quick. But I was on the subway, and you're not supposed to do this, but people walk car to car, like in between.
Yeah.
And this lady came through. She was giving her very loud spiel about how my children are dying and I need money. And so I kept my head down, and I thought she had like stopped. I might have had my headphones in. I probably did, but I look up, we connect eyes, and she goes, "This white bitch." And she starts coming at me. People are like getting up, like coming at me. And she's like, "You privileged white bitch, who do you think you are?" And I'm like, I'm sorry, like I'll give you money.
Cowering down.
I'm like, so people are standing up about the same time the subway is stopping. So they were like, you need to get off. Like, you need to leave her alone. And as it was like a scene from a movie, as the subway doors are closing and we're about to head out, she goes, "Blow it up, boys." Door shut. Like, I was like, are we okay? Like, do we all need to like call someone?
What a psycho.
Of course, everyone was like, "Are you okay?" Like, yeah,
like, no, she's just a tweaker. Like, she's fucked up.
Yeah.
Are you okay?
So I was like, "Are we about to die?"
Yeah. You're like, "Where's the ball?"
The things I saw in New York.
People are crazy.
Yeah, and that's when I was kind of like, okay, I need to start with an exit plan. I want to get the hell out because that's like a daily thing,
right? Yeah.
Yeah. So that sucked. Sorry, New York, your subways suck.
And they're terrifying.
Yes. So now we are in May. So this is 1 month later. Daily news columnist Jimmy Breslin receives a handwritten letter from the .44 caliber shooter postmarked from that morning coming out of New Jersey. So literally he's like, "Oh shit, like it's fresh. I can smell it."
Yeah, right. The ink is still wet.
Yeah. He's like, "Oh, look, fingerprints." Holds it up to a light. So the reverse side of the envelope had hand-printed in 4 precisely centered lines. I guess this is a Bible verse. "Blood and family, darkness and death, absolute depravity, signed 44. Someone said that that's like clips from some certain Bible verse. I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, but I don't know.
Yeah. So very dark either way. So here's this letter. And yes, I included the whole thing. But should we save it for the next episode? We're at 44 minutes.
How much do you have left?
Quite a bit. Should I get through the letter and then?
Get through the
okay.
letter.
So I'll read the letter. So he says, and this letter is capitalized appropriately, perfect grammar, perfect spelling, perfect everything.
What the fuck?
So complete opposite. And you can see these letters on Google Images. Complete opposite.
Wow.
"Hello from the gutters of NYC, which are filled with dog manure, vomit, stale wine, urine, and blood." I mean, he's not wrong.
No, he's not wrong.
"Hello from the sewers of NYC, which swallow up these delicacies when they are washed away by the sweeper trucks. Hello from the cracks of the sidewalks of NYC and from the ants that dwell in these cracks and feed in the dried blood of the dead that has settled into the cracks. JB," the columnist, "I am just dropping you a line to let you know that I appreciate your interest in those recent and horrendous 44 killings. I also want to tell you that I read your column daily and I find it quite informative. Tell me, Jim, what will you have July 29th? Keep in mind, we're in May. July 29th. You can forget about me if you like because I don't care for publicity. However, you must not forget Donna Loria, and you cannot let the people forget her either. She was a very, very sweet girl, but Sam's a thirsty lad, and he won't let me stop killing until he gets his fill of blood. Mr. Breslin, sir, don't think that because you haven't heard from me for a while that I went to sleep. No, rather, I am still here. Like a spirit roaming the night. Thirsty, hungry, seldom stopping to rest, anxious to please Sam. I love my work. Now the void has been filled. Perhaps we shall meet face to face someday, or perhaps I will be blown away by the cops with smoking 38s. Whatever, if I shall be fortunate enough to meet you, I will tell you all about Sam if you like, and I will introduce you to him. His name is Sam the Terrible. Not knowing what the future holds, I shall say farewell and I will see you at the next job. Or should I say... Rogan, you're interrupting. Or should I say, you will see my handiwork at the next job. Remember, Miss Loria. Thank you. In their blood and from the gutter, Sam's Creation 44. Here are some names to help you along. Love this. So he says, here's some names to help you along. Forward them to the inspector for use by NCIC. The Duke of Death, the Wicked King Wicker, the 22 Disciples of Hell, John Wheaties, rapist and suffocator of young girls.
Oh my God.
P.S. Please inform all detectives working on the slaying to remain. PSJB, please inform all... Oh, sorry. Yeah, PSJB, please inform all detectives working on the case that I wish them the best of luck. Keep them digging, drive on, think positive, get off your butts, knock on coffins, etc. Upon my capture, I promise to buy all the guys working the case a new pair of shoes if I can get up the money. Son of Sam.
What the fuck is going on in his mind?
So crazy other parallel is in our last episode, and we released the little teaser clip of it. We were like, don't give serial killers cool names. This guy gave you a list to choose from.
Yeah, he really did. He was like, call me whatever you want.
Yeah. Yeah.
Seriously, call me whatever you want. And
but here's a few of my favorites.
Yeah, here's a few of my favorites. But also, like you said, like the letters were night and day different. Like,
yeah.
The first one, it seemed like you had a schizophrenic crackhead.
Yeah.
And then the second one,
this is like a poet.
Yeah.
It's poetic.
Yeah.
So
like an actual story.
Yeah. And along with this letter too, and then we'll wrap up episode 1, is under Son of Sam, where he had signed it. He'd drawn his own logo using like symbols. So that wasn't in the last thing.
No.
The reference to July 29th that he made, like, will I see you, or what are your plans on July 29th?
Yeah.
That is the anniversary of the first shooting.
Oh,
so he's alluding that it's going to happen again.
Gonna happen again. Yeah.
And again, very sophisticated to the point that the police thought that this was created like in some sort of art studio, maybe by a pro writer type, or even like a calligrapher.
Right.
So, but they also were like, this could be a troll. This could be somebody who knows. At this point, the media's got a hold of it. It could be someone who just, because it is so different. It is so different.
Yeah.
But they were still so convinced that this was the killer and that this was who he actually is.
Right.
That they suspected a potential comic letterer because, again, poets. Like, they were like, okay, this guy is a professional. They reached out to DC Comics.
Shut up.
To help. They were like, recognize, because he wrote in like a font.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, obviously that led nowhere. They were like,
I wonder
absolutely
what his IQ was. Like, I wonder
probably
how smart he was. Yeah, especially if he can, think about this. His brain is processing, you know, all of these different things. And he writes like a child in the first letter. And then he writes very articulate. And I know you like copied and pasted that. I mean, his grammar is on point. He has the commas where they need to be. Like
you called me out on my research.
No, I know.
Bitch, I know you copy and pasted that story straight from Wikipedia.
No, but the letter, you gotta copy it, like, fully.
It was fully copied and pasted, because I wanted to keep the spelling the way that it was, so like, I knew.
But that's what I mean, like, the IQ level of that. Like, and being able to, like, change your handwriting to make it look significantly different. Yeah. Like, he had to be, like, genius level IQ.
It's nuts. So, the lead to DC Comics led nowhere. The Wicker King Wicker was a reference to the 1973 horror movie Wicker Man. So he is like keeping up with shit. Yeah. And like really throwing, like, that is a sinister like detail. Like, you're telling them you're interested in like the horror films. You're alluding that you're like a creepy guy. Right. So basically, to finish up this letter portion, Breslin, the journalist, columnist, whatever, he published portions of the letter with the police's permission, and it ended with urging the killer to turn himself in. Yeah, like that was going to happen. Yeah. So, of course,
turn yourself in. Or send us a floppy disk. Yeah. We can't track it.
Oh my God, that's the best.
I know, right?
Fucking idiot. So, it is the Daily News' highest selling publication to date with more than 1.1 million copies. I mean, that'll do it. All tips to the police led nowhere. But it struck a fear with the women in New York to the severity it caused them to cut and dye their hair, like blonde, short, nothing that matches the description, to a point that beauty chain stores, they sold out of like wigs and shit.
Right, because people were terrified.
Yeah.
They're like, we can't have long, dark, wavy hair.
No.
We're all going blonde.
This guy's ruthless. So that's where we're going to end part 1. So we got some more murders, some more sinister shit. And this guy has he has got not a good legacy, but a legacy that is still going to this day. So Thursday, guys.
Stay tuned for part 2 on Thursday.
Yes. So thank you guys to our patrons. Yes. Everyone who supports the podcast. You guys are awesome. Helping us to get to Dallas, especially right now. Yes. So thank you so much.
Yes. And thank you to our sponsor, Color Up CBD. Go to colorupco.com. Use code Sinister20 to get 20% off all of your CBD needs.
And we'll see you on Thursday.
Stay sinister.